Evan, are you out there?
I'm out here. I'm coming.
All right, man. Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Good to be here. Great to be here.
So, as you can tell, the Carbotti brothers are very stylish individuals, and all of my posts that came up, it was like how good they look and all this other stuff. They are the epitome of style, and you guys are always looking fantastic. And I have to acknowledge that I've known Evan since he was a baby, and that his father was an extremely close and dear friend of mine, who is a legend in the events industry, Richard Carbotti. Everyone that knows him and knows of Perfect Surroundings and Carbotti Design that was out there is that he literally was a founder of a lot of what's happened in the event industry and the trends and the styles and stuff that he defined them. And the two of you carried on.
And he would tell you that.
And he would tell you that too. He would tell you to your face. I started this.
I did this.
I have to tell that you've heard this story 100 times, but I'll just tell this funny story about Evan's dad. Is that we would travel to conventions and events all over the country. And one time, his father and I were sharing a hotel room at a conference.
I'm sorry about that.
At a horrible, horrible hotel. And again, we were there for the event, not really for the hotel. But I left the hotel room, your father and I were sharing, I left the hotel room to go downstairs to get something, and I was gone maybe 15, 20 minutes to when I went to get downstairs. And I come back up, and the hotel room had been transformed. His father transformed the hotel room to his own style.
Who doesn't do that? Is that a normal thing?
It's a normal thing. To the point where I was not sure where he got some of the things that were in the room. I don't know.
Probably the lobby.
I don't know if he went out and still. I don't know what he did. But the hotel room looked fabulous after we came back in.
That's what I grew up with. So.
You did. You did it perfectly. And I've been to, with Evan and Jordan, more conferences and events around the country, had more special memories and things that we've been a part of, and I really appreciate both you and your brother's friendship and the stuff that we've been able to do. You guys have carried on the legacy amazingly, and from a perspective is that they are not only national, they are international with the things they've done. And I have to give a big congratulations to you is that he's going to be soon welcomed into the fatherhood world. His beautiful wife Ingrid is going to have a baby boy.
Baby boy. Little Enzo.
Little Enzo. So
Yeah.
Enzo is already out there being talked about between his mom and Ingrid and his brother. So we're very excited. When does she do?
End of August.
End of August, so
18th,
not much further. So
no.
Women and infants, get ready for my phone call because you're going to have to make sure that you take good
pull
care
some
of
strings.
I absolutely will. Red or white for you, my friend?
Tequila.
It's not
No,
tequila.
no,
I knew that was coming.
Okay,
It's not
red
tequila.
Red wine.
All right. So we'll get tequila when we go to the event after this. So tell us about Perfect Surroundings.
So Perfect Surroundings is it's a family-run company. Obviously now it's my brother and myself. My father started over 35 years ago. Kind of fell into it by mistake. He was kind of a cocky graphic designer. He went to Parsons School of Design, and he kind of just fell into the business. And his first event was actually for the America's Cup. It was the Prince Andrew's Ball with Ted Turner. So fell into it. Had no idea what he was doing at the time, but he was a really, really creative guy. Had a lot of big ideas, and it just kind of evolved into this special event business, which is what my brother and I do now. And that's pretty much it's kind of like creating experiences, live experiences for people, more than just decor and just the design, how it looks. Of course, it's about the aesthetics and all of those things, the flowers and the lighting. But it's really about creating, shared experiences for people to enjoy in different and unique places.
And that's an important term to use, so the experience. And you guys have done every style of event. You've done from whether it's a wedding, a corporate event, an anniversary party. I mean, you've done everything that's out there that you've been a part of. There's Richard, his father, some of the special events that I did when we first started, got to know each other. And Richard was the founding member of the International Live Events Association chapter in Rhode Island. He'd been a member of the International Association for many years, but the chapter here would not have started without his participation and making it happen. He was the first president of the local chapter. We have an event tonight that we're both going to that I mentioned at the Herreshoff Museum. But some of the things that I had done with him is that I had organized a wine festival. It was one of the first events that I did with his father. In later years, he did things with me with the Parks Department when we launched the Botanical Gardens over at the Regiment Botanical Gardens. So he was incredible at pulling those together, but that was always something that you guys have carried on very well, is it's not, like you said, just throwing up a bunch of stuff and making it look pretty. It's creating what that experience is so people walk away understanding what they did, and it's a memory. You guys have created memories.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point. I think we like to say that, we're not in the business of just creating pretty things. I mean, at the end of the day, hopefully it's pretty and it looks beautiful, but it really is about creating memories for corporations, for individuals, for families. And with so many resources nowadays, we have access to so many things. There's amazing resources, but it's about more than ordering furniture or flowers, having it come off the truck. and place in a tent. It's about really putting that unique twist on it and a personal sense of warmth and of style, which is what we pride ourselves on hopefully being able to do successfully.
No, that's a very good point. As I have to say from that personal standpoint, and Jim mentioned earlier about leading an event at 3 in the morning. If you follow these guys on social media, you'll see these phenomenal posts that you're looking at them that you think that everything is glorious and glamorous when you do it. They're working on loading docks until until 5 in the morning.
Exactly.
They're working 12, 14-hour days, but they're doing these things for all of us to make these special events come true. And it is hard to realize everything that goes behind it. Visually, and putting out there, and I know you brought some awesome things. And Tony, I want to make sure we're able to show these, but you guys have touched upon every style that's out there, and someone will say to you, "This is what I'm thinking," and then you'll take it to the 10th degree to almost bring it up there to make it happen for them. Talk about some of the venues, and not just in Rhode Island, and it's important for people to understand this, is that I know people that have had an anniversary party with you here, and then they'll call you and say, "My company's doing this in Miami Beach, Florida. Can you guys do it?" And you've gone down there and executed it in Miami Beach. And you've traveled all over the world. I mean, you were in Bermuda recently.
Bermuda, Aruba,
Yeah,
wherever somebody will allow us to go, we'll go
we'll
there.
take them. But talk about some of the events that you've done, and even bring up some of these pictures.
Sure. So this is just a quick example. So this is actually a boring old ballroom at the convention center in New Orleans.
In New Orleans.
In New Orleans. So it's a corporate event where it was really just kind of a showcase, and I'll show another photo, a showcase of a furniture company that was trying to show a new product line. So kind of what we were tasked with was going in and saying, okay, how can we use this product and show other event professionals how to use it in new and creative ways. So we bring in, personal elements, even things from our house to show how you can accessorize an event and make it look like a residential area or like your home. And show how we can do interesting things with these.
So
different
in
elements.
this picture, and I don't know how well we can see it here, but back in here you've got, is it court?
It's court furniture, yeah.
So court furnishing. So this is something that I want to bring up in talking about partnerships.
Sure.
So from that perspective, the Carbottis, Jim, even our caterers, we perfected that ability to work with different partners throughout the country. And Court, who a lot of people know from the business side, I know many companies here. I know the G-Tech building, Blue Cross have used Court for event furnishing, not event furnishings, for office furnishings that's come in. But Court has a event side of things, and you guys have kind of perfected it for them. You're more or less their brand launch people to showcase their products.
It's been a great relationship for us. We get to not only use their, the latest and greatest of the things that they have, but it's a good opportunity to travel and get to see what markets what they want in different markets. So it's a kind of a learning experience for us as well to kind of travel around and realize what kind of things and what the trends are on the West Coast versus the East Coast. And we kind of learn that together. So that's been a great partnership. And
I think that there's been something too. You're talking about the West Coast and East Coast, is that the coasts are behind each other in some aspect when it comes to these things. You guys have been able to kind of bring that back and start some of those trends earlier here than they probably would have, because you do that, because you do it. Even tropical themes. I mean, the things that you've done in the islands or going to Miami is to bring those things back to Rhode Islanders to do them. It's unbelievable. I did, when I was with Alex and Ani, I had a launch for an event which was out of this world. They were opening a store in Palm Beach.
Oh, the Palm Beach.
You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
So we had this launch of opening the Palm Beach store, and it was in Worth Avenue, in the shopping centers there, 150 Worth Avenue. And we had to take literally nothing. Yeah. There was like a fountain that was there.
It was like a shopping plaza outside.
On the storefront. And they transformed it into this almost white party chic feeling that we did to highlight Alex and I coming into the area. But you guys came in, we did what we call a site inspection to go and see these things. That's the things that they'll do for you, is they'll go to your venue and say, okay, this can work, this can't work. How do you make this happen? And you got some of these other pictures. Talk about some where these other venues were, because that shows people that they can transform
these
spaces.
This is actually a local venue. It's the New York Yacht Club in Newport, Rhode Island. And this is their tent that they have, kind of like a seasonal tent. Well, it seems that it's seasonal. It's out there most days in the summer. And this was just a wedding event. So we came in with custom lighting fixtures, and all of the flowers, all the long farm tables. And you can kind of see in the background, you'll obviously see the water, but there's a deck that Newport Tent Company built. And we had a nice soft seating lounge area out there. So people can kind of escape throughout the wedding, maybe, leave their mother-in-law and go sit in the lounge and have a drink so they don't have to sit at that one table.
But think about that. This was a tent. Yeah. So this was a tent. When you walked in, it was whatever the bare space was under the tent. I don't know if it's gravel or whatever they have out there.
Just grass
just
in this location.
Under the tent. And this is what ended up being there. So to think about the things you can make, and this is another one. Look at this.
Yeah, so another tent, another sailcloth tent. And again, all the flowers, all the lighting, all the candles, all those little custom elements that we bring in to give it that personal touch.
So let's talk about the personal touch side of things. So someone calls you up and they talk to you guys. budget-wise, you guys sit down and tell people what's possible, when it's possible, what they can incorporate. And you mentioned, I mean, I've been to events that his father would throw at his home, and you guys do the same thing. Like you said, you're pulling things out of the house to make it work and have it go. You did a gorgeous event last summer that I attended was at Kathy Quinn's home for the Anthony Quinn Foundation. And again, they took a tent out on the lawn and made it into this experience, and the experience was all about the arts, music, the arts, all that kind of stuff. You guys have that ability to work with people no matter what's happening, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a common misconception. I think Jim really touched on it well when he said that, you know, sometimes you can't afford not to do these things, you know, create these shared memories. And I think that oftentimes, you know, once somebody spends that money and they produce that event, they realize, oh my God, I can't imagine if I hadn't done that.
Right.
It's really special experiences. But yeah, I mean, you know, whether it's a small 10-person, you know, brunch that you want to have, or intimate dinner party, or you want to have a giant 2,000-person gala, I mean, budgets range from all over the place. But it's important to realize that, you know, my father used to tell us, you know, you can style can be had at any level. You know, it's bringing, maybe it's not a giant over-the-top centerpiece, but maybe it's just a little, you know, a little sleek design touch.
I agree completely. And something I don't want to make sure that I highlight, I don't want to not mention it, is that I talked about earlier how they did this event for me in Palm Beach and how he's mentioned he's gone to the islands and stuff. The Carbotti family, Evan and Jordan specifically, have carried on their father's legacy, and truthfully, they sometimes are more flattering than their father. Is that
Thank you.
is that they've come on, is that they've created this thing, and it's a relationship and an experience that if you meet the Carbottis and you talk to them, you do something, you've created something here. And like I said, whether it's a corporate event or a personal event, you follow them. You say to them, I want you to come here and travel with me and do this, and they have that ability, which is something that's unique. I have to say is that we don't have a lot of companies that don't have multiple offices around the country that can do what you guys are able to do.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, honestly, I think it stems from a real love of design and a love of sharing, you know, the arts and creativity with anybody that is willing to receive it. You know, and I don't mean to be corny there, but I think it's seriously the truth. I think, you know, my brother likes to say we like to design events and experiences that we ourselves would want to go to, and I think that's a really important way that we can connect with our clients.
So let's talk about the collaboration element just for the last minute or so here. Is that Jim Verity, you guys work together perfectly.
Absolutely.
You work with Blackstone, you work with Malazzi. This is the collaboration that exists out there. I'll go to an event and I'll see Jim Verity up on a ladder that's being produced by the Carbottis.
And vice versa.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that that's so important for people to understand, is that that's how we come together to make these things happen. From a budgetary perspective, and I have friends of mine that reached out to me and saw that I was doing the show. They're creating a wedding a year from now in September in Lincoln, Rhode Island. And they said to me, how do we even come together with all these thoughts and ideas? Sitting down with people like you. Your father used to sit with me in front of me, and I know you guys do the same thing with the photographs. Yeah. Your father would sit with me and sketch things.
Yeah.
He'd sit there while I'm talking, and I would think he's not paying attention to me, and he's sketching out these different thoughts and ideas of what he would do.
Yeah,
and that's how to bring that personal connection of people together. And I can't stress enough about how important it is that if you're going to do these things, that you really are creating, the word that he used earlier was the experience to have out there. So, lastly, I know that, again, you've been all over, but tell us about some of your favorite venues, some of the things that you've done, or some of the favorite events that you've been able to produce.
Favorite events? One of my favorite events, I would say, well, it was Vizcaya. So this is a funny story. We were supposed to work at this amazing place, Vizcaya, in Miami. And a hurricane came through, and we, like, literally 24 hours, we had to find another venue.
Ouch.
Big corporate event, hundreds of people. What are we going to do? Funny enough, my wife Ingrid, who was not my wife at the time, found us a new venue, and it was really eye-opening to us because it showed us what you were capable of doing in a very like raw space, you know, last minute. So we changed the whole design concept, and we turned this kind of old ballroom into this great corporate event with all the same kind of design elements used in a different way, and that's actually where we had our wedding. Years and years later.
That's fantastic.
But I think, there's no favorite venue. I love working outside. I love working in raw spaces, so you can really transform it and make it your own.